Okay, okay. Gotta get everything ready. Welcome back. We're on part 3. We're gonna continue.
Just a step
with
through
this.
this door, Stanley thought to himself, that's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all. Warmth spread through Stanley's arms.
Get the
With the bucket
bucket
in his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
What? Whoa. I know where the red room is.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's
Red room.
office.
Yes!
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am
Hey, you're
crazy.
back.
He looked down at the bucket in his
I
arms.
don't know if that was
Am I
10 minutes
crazy?
at all.
He
I
asked the
ate
bucket.
pretty fast.
The bucket returned
But-
his gaze, but said nothing.
What the heck?
That's strange. Stanley
So we
thought.
just got another
Usually,
figurine,
buckets are a source of
and
guidance and wisdom for me.
for some
in
reason I'm in a
difficult
loop.
times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone
No.
else's bucket, perhaps.
No.
How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly
No,
wrong.
no, no,
Surely
no, no.
good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was,
Yeah.
of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket!
Could it truly be?
Oh, I just
He
had to take a
rushed forward
drink.
from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his.
going-
None of them were his special bucket.
Come
Ah,
to me,
well.
Stanley! Find me!
He had to find the bucket. He had
Well,
to
at
return
least
to his
you can
old
watch
friend.
this
It
some
was
of the
only way to
stream.
truly restore his sanity. And then
know.
suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along.
No. What do you
It was
mean?
incredibly painful.
Oh no.
Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Uh-oh. The bucket is inside of me.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. This is different.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and
Yup.
security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then
Stanley.
collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize
Stanley
he'd
died,
forgotten
yup.
his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Marietta thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she bucketed all the way to work.
Moral of the story, always keep your buckets on you. About almost 14.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I made it. Whiteboard ending. That was on set.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Bucket.
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Okay, where's the next one? Bottom text. Okay. 13. This April. Follow clues provided by employee. 416.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel... Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
I feel like the game is forever, now we're stuck in Stanley Parable 2. This is new. Yeah, that's that. Now that's a banger. I heard Stanley in that. I hear the narrator's name. No, wait, no. I hear the narrator saying my name or something. It's a long elevator ride. The elevator's not doing anything.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him, always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation. Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlets. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
We have to get the last one. It's the only thing we can do.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, "Mind
Haven't gone this way yet.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
It's just, I might just playing the exact same game, but with a bucket now.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be.
What?
To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket. But what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Bucket is the best. It was worth it.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death. It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
The bucket. You all can pause that to read it.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
Oh, bucket with 2 handles. That's a good idea. Photographic experience catatonic shock for several weeks as a result of the euphoria of exposure to this many buckets at once. Stress bucket analogy.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Yes. Uh-oh.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander.
Bucket will die too.
World, a new vision.
Stanley?
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would... The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket, off on another thrilling adventure together. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not...
Does this game save?
But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Yeah.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the... And so the two of them
It's been
detoured through the
a
maintenance
long
section
struggle.
and went straight ahead to the opposite door.
I think I have to do all these endings I've gotten before. But with the bucket.
Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place
What?
eventually.
This is different.
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley.
Adventure
We've come together here
line.
because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket
Yeah.
isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Yes. Yes, the Adventure Line.
Hey, look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
It trademark?
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you
Yeah.
remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
What?
It's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
But I love the bucket.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket.
Sorry.
And pop it into the machine when you're ready. Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure,
I'm not
I can
able
hear you
to.
saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley
I'm
parable
trying.
characters?
I don't
Well,
want
you
to.
see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters.
The bucket just looks at me.
Or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Don't show the bucket. We have so many measures of things. You're right. But I was told this wasn't my bucket. This was a lie bucket.
The Bucket Destroyer. My prized creation. We had so much potential.
Though
We
the
were going to do such
flashbangs, like,
marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Can we go back to dark mode? It was a lot nicer. That's better. I swear. I gotta look this up now.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this door,
No.
I can make it through them all.
The bucket has led me to resets. I'm starting to think Buck
Stanley
is
came to a
alive.
set of 2 open doors. He entered the door on his left.
We're gonna listen to the narrator.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly Stanley was in such a rush to get through
is
the
the same
story as
color
quickly
every
as
time.
possible. He didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk.
Oh, whoa,
That
this
kind of
is...
anxiety isn't healthy. So he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age
No,
music.
I'm supposed to beat this... I'm supposed to beat this in 4 minutes and 22 seconds.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Does the Stanley Parable save? Does it have any way of saving the game in the middle of a loop? The only thing players can rely on is the system's native suspense feature.
Stanley walked straight ahead
If I were to
through the
leave,
large door
close
to
this
the
game,
mind control
it'd be over.
facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible?
Had to stay
Spent his entire
because
life
Bucket
utterly
caused
blind to the
repeat
world?
and repeat. Bucket was a lie, just like a cake.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do.
Time to end this.
To let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about me, where we're going, what all this means. I have to also do this ending with Bucket, though, so remember that. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. What? I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not?
What?
These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't.
It's 1,
Take a look
2,
at the clock, Stanley. That's 30
Okay.
seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here. Just you being blown to pieces. Will you
Where's
cling
4?
desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
I swear. It's restarting.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps
Bucket, you're coming with me on this journey.
Today, the Bucket asked. Stanley
We're
just
going
smiled.
to go explode
Anywhere
something.
they went together would be perfect. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Come on, Bucket. We're about to nuke the place.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
I'm also gonna speed run with you, Bucket.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
What other games do I have? I have a bunch of the Need for Speed games. One of my best games to get views on, Monster Jam Steel Titans 2. People love those videos. Recently made one and it already got 40 views. Bending the Ink Machine,
Stanley and the bucket
Spider-Man.
walked straight ahead through the large door
What
that
else is
read,
it?
Mind Control
Plague
Facility.
Inc. And what else? Other Minecraft,
The
but
lights
usually I
rose
do that
on
with
an
friends.
enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible
Fortnite,
secret
haven't
did this
done
place hold?
made a stream like that in
Stanley
a
and the
while.
bucket both wondered to
Call of Duty
themselves.
Black Ops 4 and 3. Yeah, Mom. I have a bucket. I forgot I have to hit the button.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs.
Fortnite no scope.
The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Here we go.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content.
There's a power
Walking,
button over
eating,
here,
working,
something.
all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
We ain't doing that, Bucket.
But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the
Bucket did it.
controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
What? Flamingos.
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him.
Ducks.
This wasn't a mind control facility at all.
Owls.
It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions.
Something.
Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
No. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
What do I do? I will. Provided by employee. Dang it! It was 216.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had... The embrace of an old friend. A weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
Dang it. If I hit quit to main menu, will it kiss the Stanley Parable 2? Joe's favorite. What the heck? Oh, with the first person? Nah. Joe's favorite. Simplified controls. Sure. What are you doing? What are you doing? Why? Why? And I could do that myself. Because I wasn't told to. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna end this all here. Subscribe, hit the bell, leave a like, all that stuff. And I'll see you next time.